dollars. They'll still be out there selling your stuff.
Well, I've had some people copy my idea years ago,
Yeah.
and wow, I didn't know anybody go after them, so it's like, hey, it didn't work for me, and I don't think it worked that well for you, so I wanted better things, and I didn't use that design, but I created it for this one, but doing a copy of that design is what it is.
Yeah.
But they had money to market it, sell it, and I've had money to test a lot of things.
Well, I guess we'll go ahead and get started. I'm Roger Jackson, and here with Roberto, the board members and document owners in our 41st year since 1978, but we haven't been here that long. Maybe half that time. I don't know. Anyway, we're a 501c3 nonprofit, and we're here to help people transition from idea to product and get a business going, and that's exactly the space our speaker's in. So we have 2 meetings a month, second and fourth Monday evening, 7 to 9, same place and time usually, on various topics. So our next one, March 11th, is going to be Avid Product Development. So they specialize in a lot of 3D printing for projects and helping people do initial prototype and production runs and stuff. So they'll be bringing out some samples on what they do. They're up in Loveland, so they're somewhat local and stuff. And for anyone here that, if you don't have patent pending, if you haven't already disclosed, be sure to keep your idea confidential, so you don't start the 1-year clock on disclosure. They have to file a patent in the U.S. or internationally. You need to file it before you have Anyway, we'll do a little round robin. Everybody introduce yourself and what you've got going on. Let's start with Brad.
Sure. My name is Brad Granley. I'm an environmental engineer, entrepreneur, small business owner. That business is focused in environmental engineering. Love it, have fun there, but I've just been a guy that's always had a lot of ideas, and so this is just something to maybe supplement or switch over to at some point in my life. And I just got this long list of ideas. I've been paring it down and trying to find the ones that I want to focus on, and do a little more research on those and try to move forward. So.
Okay, Barry.
Barry Gruskin. I'm a realtor. Been a realtor for 18 years, but have always kind of wanted to be an inventor. And I was going to some meetings back in Congress, and then kind of got diverted into getting married and having a family, and never really got anything patented.
When you came, where did they meet? Remember?
Off of 8th at the manufacturing.
Oh,
8th and Bryant.
Yeah, Jerry Foreman's place.
Foreman's place.
4th and Bryant.
Yep.
Yeah, we had to go inside the building.
Yeah, that was. I've got same ideas I never did anything with, but I've got some new ones that I'm more excited about. And just need to just kind of get moving with it. So.
All right, great.
Right, Sean, I have a lot of ideas. I like to come to this Rocky Mountain conventions because they have a lot of people that have ideas that think the same way I think as far as trying to create new things. And I wish they still had those round tables at Jerry Corn's place. But at any rate, that's why I'm here.
Okay.
Just to learn more, and I've got lots of ideas.
All right. I don't remember.
Jim Ross.
Yeah,
I
okay.
have Perfect Fitting Shoes, website that I'm about to launch, but it's shoe design that adjusts in the heel on a better fitted shoe. And marketing products through multiple categories. We're going to kickstart a campaign later this year.
Okay.
Great program, hopefully to get some ideas about networking and stuff. So.
All right. Roberto?
I'm Roberto Keenan. I'm a patent agent. I've been practicing patent law for 15 years now. I'm registered with the USPTO to file and prosecute patent applications. And most of my clients are in Italy, since I'm Italian, so I'm their US correspondent, so I do filing and prosecution for that.
Okay, great. So I'll introduce our speaker, Keenan Gates. He was here 9 months ago or something. maybe a little less than a year. And so he can tell you about, they've helped some inventors and have some successful products. And I guess, what I like to see is give people realistic expectations and or keep it real, for people that aren't experienced in launching products, so they have the right approach. And we usually do the questions anytime in the presentation. All right, thanks.
Thanks, Roger. Just like I said, Roger's, I was here about a year ago, maybe less than a year. And Roger, thanks again for having me here.
Let me interrupt 1 second. His presentation went out as an email attachment to everyone at 5 o'clock today. So when you get back, you'll have it. So you don't have to worry about getting it.
Was there another one?
No, that was just the PDF.
Was this the only one?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I thought I sent you.
And I think that's the one I saw from you.
Okay.
18 sheets or so.
Yeah, there was another deck, but you know what? This is a good exercise. So I'm here to really just kind of, like Roger said, try to share with you what we do. And the company's name is Level Terrain. Our business was founded about 6 years ago now, 2012. It was originally started by Mia Doe, who had this crazy idea to make this running fitness belt. It's made out of polyester tubular pocket that fit around your waist. And because of the elasticity, you could stick like a water bottle in there, phones, keys, wallets, and her father, like everybody else, it's that classic story where people just thought that it was such a crazy, silly idea. It wouldn't amount to anything. And even her father told her that, hey, this is it's the stupidest idea I've ever heard. I think those were the very words that he used. But anyway, so she introduced it at a running event, and runners found it to be like the most remarkable invention. Runners need keys, need water bottles, especially today they need phones. Most all runners carry phones with them. And just, snacks, bars, or whatever on their runs. And, there were so many people that were so interested in it. There was a crowd around the event, trade show, and then running store buyers who were at the running events wanted to find out exactly what is this product that this girl's selling. And so they got a hold of it, and the rest is history. The unique part about that experience, though, for Mia is that Mia was an inventor, and she realized that earlier on, when there was this big demand for the runners for this running fitness belt, that she realized that she needed help. She was burning out. I think Mia did a really great job of trying to figure out the infrastructure. How do I support all these multiple running events, and how do I start shipping products to consumers? How do I start shipping products to retailers? How do I keep that all in organized? I mean, just whatever being an any-day entrepreneur would have to go through. There's so much demand. I think she was just burning the candle on both sides and realized that she needed help. So she asked her brothers who had retired a few years in the past, who had a software business, to come back out of retirement and to help her build a business. And two brothers, one brother was very marketing savvy, and the other was very business astute. And I think you would all agree with me that making good decisions is not something that you are born with. It's something that you learn how to do. And Warren, our CEO or the managing partner, is very good at that. And so he brought a team to help build the business, and I was one of the guys who focused on the business development. And previously, my story is that I'd worked in large corporations on the product business development side, corporate development, and I left because I felt my job and career was getting a little too comfortable, removed from reality. I was working for a corporate venture firm where they had $1.5 billion to spend investing in early stage startups or revenue stage startups, and we were spending $3 million or $10 million or $30 million or $50 million or $100 million or $300 million investing in these companies that, and $1 million became something to a point where, it was just like, it wasn't my money, it was somebody else's money. So it was easy to spend somebody else's money, but I soon realized I didn't know exactly what that meant to me anymore. So anyway, so my personal history is that I really wanted to, kind of like you, had the itch to really kind of go build something from scratch. And had a software company up in Boulder, met up with a gentleman who's a builder of teams, and Scott Converse, who absolutely a genius. He ex-Apple executive who built eWorld. And we built this early stage cloud-based content publishing platform, but it was way early stage. And if you think about, today, this was like, gosh, I don't even remember now, maybe 10, I'm really aging myself now, 15 years ago maybe. This is before we talked about the cloud, before the cloud was cloud. We were building kind of like an app store platform for consumer electronics companies. Realizing that they didn't have any software infrastructure, they were really focused on the hardware. And who are these guys? Koreans, of course. Or today now Chinese. But anyway, I got an itch to do that, and we had a small exit, sold the business to a Swiss-based company, Nagravision, and they, after 2 years of investing into the business, decided that they couldn't hold on to the investment anymore because it was going to take longer for the business to materialize. But for me, I realized, I didn't really get to build the business of something that the investors thought that were going to, help fund our business. So even though it was a nice lifestyle business, I really didn't get a chance to build that business, like I said. And so having the opportunity to go work with Warren and Mia and a few other people to build Level Terrain, that was a really good experience for me, and I'm still there because I didn't have to do it alone. I think the biggest thing that I spent working on with that sale of that company to the Swiss company was that I spent more time explaining about the business rather than executing the business. So anyway, that's a little bit of my background. And today, Level Terrain, that was 6 years ago. We started selling those running fitness belts, and now we've sold maybe 20, 25 different countries, millions of belts, created a new running belt category, and we're still continuing to build a business. And with the growth of that business, we decided that, hey, you know what? I think as partners and investors of the business decided that we wanted to diversify. And so we started looking at other opportunities, other products, other unique ideas, unique products that we can bring in to the consumer market. And so we've brought a couple investments in the last couple of years. And one in particular, I think Roger, we have a mutual connection
Henry.
with Henry. Henry worked with Roger in coming up with a patent for this golf club speaker, Bluetooth speaker. It looked like a driver, and we thought it was a really unique idea. And there's a lot of Bluetooth speakers out there, but this one was looks like your golf club, and you can actually put it behind somebody's golf bag and listen, which is super convenient because if you play golf, if you listen to music, rather than having it on your phone here or there, you've got the speaker in your golf bag, whether you put it in a golf cart or your backpack or your bag. So anyway, that investment, we're still continuing, and I can talk a little bit more about that, because I think that's a really nice example, particularly from this environment, where we've actually commercialized the product. And I wouldn't say we've gotten our money back in terms of our investment yet, but we've certainly gone through a lot of creative approaches and market tests to figure out where the business is for the product. Before I talk a little bit more about Level Terrain, I'm a little bit more curious. I mean, I know we did the quick introductions. I'm curious to find out what you would be interested to, what is it that you would be interested in if you were if you're building your own ideas, your products. I'd like to hear from you what your ideas are in terms of what a good partner would be if you had a partner.
For me, I guess I've gone through the process of building a business, and I'm still in that. I started my company about 6 years ago. It's an environmental consulting company. From an invention standpoint, like I said, I like what I do, so I'm not looking to switch careers and just build another business. I'm more interested in taking the massive ideas and finding ones that might potentially have, or that might have real potential, and more going down the licensing pathway. But of course, with kids and a wife and a business, where I need the assistance is getting from one step to the next, helping evaluate ideas and finding it, improving it, and then finding an investor along with the patenting process. So that's a little bit different from building a business like you're talking about, but that's kind of where I see myself going anyways.
Thanks for that. Just a quick thought on that. I think my biggest, part of my job is not only to build sales for our partnership, but also look at solicit and engage and network, find new people who have new ideas for products. And I think one thing that it's been very interesting for me is that not only through this process, but even through the software startup days, I think to build a business or product, come up with an idea and actually do something on your own, I think it takes a very special personality. I think that that personality, a lot of people coin the term that people are narcissistic. And you have to be. You have to be narcissistic. You have to believe in yourself. And if somebody says no, you accept what they say, you accept the no as a final answer, then there won't be creation. There won't be innovation. So I think that culturally in America, we have such an amazing culture that fosters this narcissistic behavior. And I am appreciative of you, otherwise, and people like you and Mia, because I'm not the idea guy. I'm certainly the execution guy, and I know my role, but to have that belief in yourself and your inventions and the ideas, and that's what makes my job exciting, to be working with people like you and others. So when you say, yeah, I don't want to build a business, I think that's very good recognition for you to say, hey, you know what, I have a family now. I can't dedicate all this. Obviously, you're running an environmental business already. You know what the sandbox looks like. So yeah, I think that's a really important factor. Just like Mia realized that, hey, you know what, I'm burning candles on both sides of this the stick, and I need help. And I think that's to have that self-awareness to be able to say, yeah, I need help. I think that's a really good place to start. So businesses like ours, where we meet people like you, that's part of the criteria. Because if you were to say that, hey, if you were to say, hey, I don't need you, then we're not a good fit. Because certainly I'm not going to be able to convince you, because you've already convinced that you can actually go do this on your own, come up with these ideas and execute on your own. We're certainly not going to be able to convince you. So I think to have, first criteria for us to be able to invest in new products and people is that part of that trait where, okay, is this person crazy enough that they have this great idea that they've been able to make, but they're self-aware enough that they're willing to, they know that they need help, they're willing to work with somebody or a team to help them build that.
Well, that's what it's all about, though, really. I mean, that's why we're here. I think, is why I'm here. Anyway, I can't speak for Barry or Jim. Is that,
You can speak for me.
okay, I'll speak. Because he'll agree with me, understand on to anyway. Is that we have ideas, and some of us realize that we can't take it ourselves. But we don't know, we're here to figure out what companies we want to deal with, not just who you want to deal with. Because the reason I come here is because I feel these companies that come here are kind of legitimate and more honest. At least that's the way I feel.
Mm-hmm.
But what does it take to license a product, or go from a what is it going to take? Is it going to take patents? What is going to be my input into this? Do I need to go to the trade shows? Do I need to get a patent? And for that matter, what is going to be my investment in something like that?
I think that's a really good question, and I don't really have an answer for you. I know that's not what you like to hear. The reason I say that is that the world is, it's moving so fast, and I'll use the football as an example. By the way, does this have internet access, Ron?
Yeah.
So
Anywhere you want.
Yeah. I should probably run a sample for you. Let's see. So when we launched Flippo, about Amazon. Amazon was just taking off. Obviously, when I say just taking off, I mean that from a niche market to really mass market. With Amazon Prime making it 2-day shipment anywhere in the country, to have that level of convenience and the trust of the consumer, it really accelerated the consumption behavior in America. It's not so the case in Europe yet. We're starting to see that. In Japan, certainly. But what you would have thought is the traditional method of doing business may or may not apply today. And so I'll use the football as an example of that, because obviously when we first introduced the running events, there's an expo, and you can actually do trade of goods. People can do transactions, credit card transactions using Square. The technology is available. So you can actually go to an event and actually have a virtual shop. If Square wasn't available, to be able to do that kind of transaction would be really, really difficult, because the only way of doing that is through cash. So technology certainly has an impact on whichever market segment that you are, you want to whichever market segment or sandbox that you're in. So in that example, the running retail store, buyers, saw the popularity of the product, brought it into their store. They started selling that. So okay, brick and mortar. There is your independent retail running shop, and those stores today are still relevant, but they're questioning themselves to figure out, okay, how do they need to continue to remain relevant as a retailer? So 6 years ago, we paddle back to those 6 years ago, 2018, 2019, almost 6, 7 years ago. The brick and mortar store was very relevant. The running shops were very relevant. Independent running shops, the retail chains. I don't know if you remember Sports Authority. Sports Authority was around. Dick's is still around. Academy is still around. The big box retailers, Walmart, Target, Bed Bath & Beyond, they're still around. So our vision was that, our approach of growing this business was very methodical, very data-driven. Okay, first, do people buy it? If somebody buys it, then you know what? There's been a transaction there, so there's some kind of demand. Then secondly, if there's a demand, can you replicate that demand? Rather than having that one person buy, do you think there might be 20, 30, 100 buyers who would purchase that within the same environment, right? So if I take this running belt to another running event in California, not the Colorado event that I just went to, but the California one, could I replicate that success? And the answer for this product, the answer was yes. And if we went to that event, will the buyers be interested in there? Retail store buyers be interested there as well? And the answer in this case was yes. I could fast forward a little bit, and we were able to take advantage of. We were at the intersection of really interesting 3 different trends. One was the running market is a big market, 20 million. It's been growing and growing and growing for the last several years, just because people want to be healthy, and running, for whatever reason, just like eating healthy is a big part of our culture today. It's still a niche segment, not a mass market. Then there was the athleisure trend 6, 7 years ago. Today, if you talk about athleisure, it's like talking about jeans. Like, it's ubiquitous. Women wear it, even some men wear it. And so it's become our very common thing. But when Flipbelt was first introduced, athleisure was just taking off. Lululemon had introduced product obviously a decade further ago, but there were a bigger mass market adoption to the product, and they didn't have any pockets. And this product allowed you to carry stuff on top of your athleisure. And oh, by the way, it doesn't look like a fanny pack. It eliminated bounds for you to carry all this stuff. And that was the main thing for the runners. So you got those two intersecting trends. Oh, by the way, and Facebook. When we first started launching this product, Facebook had not figured out their advertising platform. They've been working on it. So I don't know if you know today, has anybody used Facebook advertising? So at that time, no one in our category had done social media advertising. And social media advertising effectively, from a marketing perspective, it's basically direct response. It's your marketer's dream. What I mean by that is that Facebook didn't have a live feed sponsored ads. And do you understand what I mean by live feed? It's the main page, where when you go to your Facebook page, you see somebody posting something, they'll automatically, instantaneously show you whatever your friend within your network are posting stuff. Facebook did not have a sponsored ad in the live feed section. And at the time, they were testing all these sidebar, banner ads on the sides to the live feeds. Well, they didn't work. But sponsored ads in the live feed, that's what started the Facebook advertising. But I'm going to age myself again. When I was working at AOL, this was I don't even remember when. It was a while ago. That was like dial-up. This is after dial-up when we were trying to build, take the success of the dial-up to broadband. What was interesting about AOL, I don't know if, does anybody familiar with AOL's history, business?
Stephen Chase.
Stephen King. They're a marketing organization. They were a marketing organization. They weren't a technology company. Their entire, they were on their Virginia campus in Dulles, Virginia. They had maybe, I don't know, 6 big campus buildings, and probably like 3 or 4 of those buildings, I'm exaggerating right now, were marketing buildings. And what they would do is they had the direct response marketing to a science, to art. They had, at that time, that you would have to, you'd have to come up with, creative messaging. You could do creative messaging with, do A/B tests on all your different messages, holding all else constant. Your promotions, that you could do, 3, 4 different promotions with all else constant, and all this stuff. And creatives, you would test A/B test creatives, and they had this entire marketing organization's group of people that specialized in all that. And there were thousands of, hundreds of these people. Today, if you go on Facebook AI automatically does that for you. So what would you would have had to spend, AOL marketing organization, maybe 15 to 20 years ago, would have had, an arsenal of machine of these people dedicated into this art form of direct response marketing. A single person like myself can get on Facebook right now and do it better than they can. Because Facebook algorithm, you can optimize it, you can, to your ad spend, your targeting, and it's fluid. It's not just static, where you have to, finish the campaign and then, reassess like you would at the AOL headquarters. The AI, the machine is constantly figuring out what the most optimal outcome is for your marketing spend and your whether it's like lead generation or content awareness or what have you. So that was going on, those 3 things. And so we were one of the very first people to start using Facebook. Then you might say, well, should I go to a trade show? We went to the trade show. And we went to outdoor retail, in this case, where we were told that, hey, you know what? If you want to show up at REI, if you want to show up at Sports Authority, Dick's, or whatever, you got to go to outdoor retail. So we spent 20 grand to go to outdoor retail to have a booth space and pay the head count and all that. Yes, there were buyers who saw us. Maybe we got maybe 2 leads. And I recall I spoke to somebody from Dick's who I followed up with. And so the REI risk person was there, but the way we closed the deal with REI wasn't through a trade show. The way we closed the deal was that the REI buyers were starting to see our ads pop up on Facebook. And they were starting to realize, oh wow, this brand, because they hadn't seen any other brand do it before. But they started, oh yeah, I've seen your product there. Oh, I've seen your product there. And it made it seem like we were more successful than we actually were. And so you send it, we found that we figured out who the buyer was, reached out to the buyer on an email, and boom. Yeah, send me your examples. I'd be interested in bringing it to the store.
Your retailers want to know how you're going to drive that customer to their store and ask for your product. They don't want to spend time on having their salespeople sell your product to the customer. And they don't have time to do that. And
Jim, you know what? To your point, that's my next topic of today, which was progression-wise, we were able to, land grab all these retail stores, Sports Authority, Dick's, REI, what have you. And then we decided, you know what, this product has broader application than just running. You can use that for travel. You can just use that for walking. You can use that for even, vacuuming. So we try to take the product mass market. And we spent millions of dollars in marketing just, turn the engine up. And we decided, you know what, we don't know what the outcome would be from the retail stores, but we had to go test it out. We had to see, okay, what is everybody talking about being in Target? What do they mean? What does it mean to be in Bed Bath & Beyond? Well, we spend lots of marketing, and when you go into these big box stores, their margins are very small and they're very onerous terms. And once we turn the gas off, there were no more sales from the mass retailers. And we're like, how could this be? And what was driving it, to Jim's point, was our marketing. Our marketing was driving traffic to their stores. And in fact, FGL, which is the biggest sports company, or they're owned by Canadian Tire. I don't know if you're aware of this. Canadian Tire products. They own FGL, owns Sports Check. Anyway, they pretty much have a monopoly in the sports retail stores in Canada. And I recall, we would be working with the buyers, and their executives were aware of our product, this little accessory, this little flip belt. They wanted to know how we were marketing at the time. So again, going back to your question, how do I do this? Do I license it? The answer is we don't know. And I'll give you a good example.
I'm not talking about your company directly. I'm not talking about how you handle it. I'm talking about how I can give it to you.
Yeah, so to answer your question directly in that regard, if
I'm okay with dating right now. Okay, so rejection is okay.
Sure.
To a certain extent, because I have other products too.
Depending on where your product is, we do different stages. We'll do as early as early stage product at concept level, all the way to revenue stage. And you've got a product, you're making money, people want your product, but you don't know how to scale it. So we're right there, we're in between there. And again, of course, if you're further down the pipeline, or growth curve, the terms may be different. But what we do is we take an active investment approach, which means that we'll do at least 70-30. We'll own 70% of the profits. But we will, in the case of SoundCloud, that's probably a great example. Henry had a patent from work with Roger, had a patent. He had this great idea, but he didn't know how to even prototype it. So working with our China partner, we put together, we got the prototype done. And then Henry came in and said, you know what, I want to have fun. Marketing would be fun for me. So I want to be involved. I want to be actively involved. And because of my active participation, I should maintain 30% of the business. And to be completely honest with you, the way it worked out is that we threw in all the dollar investment in and the execution, and Henry actually walked back. And he decided, you know what? I realized I just don't have the bandwidth. You guys are better prepared to do what we're doing. And to kind of extend on that product experiential curve, Henry thought when he came up with the invention that it was really for the young millennials. So they don't have time, so they're going to go out to the golf course. They want to listen to music, not like your old school golf where you think about Caddyshack. You remember the expressions and the conflict there with I forgot Rodney Dangerfield. Yeah. So, but the reality is that and I think Henry's a great example of that, where he knew that he thought that we needed to brand this thing, kind of like a loudmouth product. I don't know if you're familiar with loudmouth in golf. They do these like really crazy pants that you can wear, like what's the golfer saying? Paint Store. There's a more John Daly. Yeah, those.
Paint Stewart's the crazy one.
The crazy.
John Daly's the drunk. Payne Stewart's the one that dresses first.
That's true. He's the one who started it.
From my perspective.
That's true. He's the one who started it. But anyway, so our, you know, you never, I mean, so yeah, we started testing the product. We knew where to sell it. We thought we needed to test the clubhouses. And we thought that by having it in the clubhouses and marketing the product as a millennial product, and that's, you know, your brand voice. Kind of like, you know, hey, you know, the vernacular is not the vernacular that I'm speaking for sure right now. It's a very different vernacular. And what we realized is that it's not the millennial kids who are buying this, and the guys. It wasn't the guys. It's the women. Women are buying it. And so why would the women buy it? Well, some were buying it for themselves, but mostly they were buying it for their husbands or their sons as a gift. So it turned into a gift item. And so we're still, you know, I mean, you can go to soundcatgolf.com, and I don't know if you remember, like when we first positioned it, it was like you know, there was a guy, you know, smoking a cigar with a cap, you know, captain's hat with, you know, a girl dancing around him, you know, very, very loud, party centric, you know, images. But now if you go look at our website, it's a lot more subdued, it's a lot more conservative. And we're still kind of in the rebrand position of that, because we finally figured out it's really, really a gift item. So our marketing is going to be a whole different approach to what we're doing. And we thought about licensing, we thought about, you know, all these other stuff. Yeah, you never know who your customers are going to be. And I think that is, you know, the takeaway from that tale is that we thought we knew who it was going to be, and of course we were completely wrong.
Which kind of a person do you want? Do you want somebody that already has a patent, or someone who's on patent? What are you?
I think at this point, if you have a patent, is probably a good time to talk with us. And if you have a provisional patent, or, you know, depending on what kind of patent it is too. And the other criteria you mentioned earlier, you know, what's your other criteria? One of the criteria that we have for us is that we like unique ideas. Like, you know, SoundCloud is a great example of that. It's a Bluetooth speaker, but there is nothing like it out there. No one's ever created a sound caddy.
So did your sales jump up noticeably when you changed your positioning to women as gift item?
Yeah, we don't have an answer yet, because we're going through that rebrand right now.
Okay.
Yeah, but what we were able to do, and these are the type of things that you learn where, you know, you have this. I think when you're in an invention mode, you have these lofty ideas and assumptions. But in reality, when you're in execution mode, you know, it's really your patience level, your patience and your decision making. It has to be very practical. And I think that, you know, from our perspective, you know, we're very cash rich. You know, we're very well positioned moving forward. So we're in a position to invest and stay with our investment as long as, you know, it needs to be.
Okay, so I guess, I know maybe I shouldn't say anything at all, but what I'm thinking is that what about somebody who comes to you, and maybe this is not time to come to you, say if I'm going to go out there and patent, it's something I believe in, okay, that I think is going to come, and you may not. But I may have 5 or 6 other ideas that might, but I can't really present them to you because why? Tell me why I couldn't. Tell me why I should.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. One, and let's talk about patent before. I have a 2-part answers to your question. Yeah, because the first part, let's talk about the patent part. We don't view, I mean, unless you've got a utility patent, we see a design patent you know the difference, right? We see a design patent as a defensive play. So just because you have a design patent, we don't look at it as, oh, geez, we have a long runway here. We don't look at it that way at all. We see having a design patent as lowest common denominator just to protect our investment. So that fundamentally, like no one else out there is going to come after us. Because it's it's cultural, world.
I don't want to invest in anything if
Yeah.
I don't talk to a marketing manager first.
Actually, I would argue right there, yeah, Greg, right there, I would tell you, if you're in that situation where you would rather have a marketing manager tell you whether you need a patent or not, then I think your idea is not developed. If you have, and I think this is an innovator's dilemma, and that's case in point with AOL, right? AOL was a marketing organization. They were never able to innovate. They were the first ones to have land grab on the internet, and yet they could have owned it all, but they just stuck to dialogue. You see what I'm saying? I think in large corporate, and this is, people, there are many journals and papers written out there about people talking about, innovator's dilemma, where, you've got large corporations that can't innovate because they built a machine to do something really well, and that thing alone. And if they're trying to introduce new products into that organization, it gets just kabooshed and it's just gone. And I can be, I'll give you a great example. When I was at EchoStar, I was in the corporate development group, and part of my job was to look strategically, figure out, not only to invest $1.5 billion, but to line up our product strategy to support, our roadmap. And I remember having a conversation with an engineering friend of mine. I consider him as a friend. But one day he had a really visceral reaction because I told him that, guess what? People are not going to watch TV on their TV. They're going to be watching it on their computer. And he just looked at me and, so-and-so hired you to do this? In my face, blood red. And I almost thought I was actually frightened of him. He was so livid. My point is that organizations like that, I'm just giving you an example. If you need their approval, again, in that case, I'm not the inventor or the idea. In that case, I'm the idea guy. But the idea guy in that organization, there were a lot of naysayers. And that's why it was important for us to put ourselves, there was a discussion, do we put ourselves outside of the company to do what we needed to do? Because to get the entire company to move the ship, to do what we want to do, that ship may sail. And it did. Look at Netflix. Netflix is not the only one who came up with the video on demand idea. We came up with the idea first. We're not the only ones, by the way, at that time. There were many other people who had the same idea. But we were the ones who approached them for a marketing play because they had so many good relationships with the CD-ROMs, the DVDs. We were going to build their digital infrastructure and use them as a marketing channel. And they laughed at us. They were like, no way, man, we're going to do this on our own. And then we laughed right back at them. And look at Netflix. Their market capitalization is, I think, maybe like 4 or 5 times bigger than EchoStar's today. But that's what I'm saying, is that if you need validation from a marketing person, that means your idea, your conviction, you need to have your skin in the game. You don't have a skin in the game.
But really, if you get one person's opinion on marketing, it could be right, it could be wrong. Nobody really knows.
But if you're looking for somebody else to give you the validation, we're not looking for to partner to invest in somebody who's looking for validation. We're looking to partner with somebody who believes in it.
I had
Well,
encouragements down
each
there.
idea is like a child, so you have to believe in it, so I don't know.
If you don't believe in it, then why should we?
Well, there's always that upfront commitment. I mean, you don't know it's gonna succeed, but you gotta put time and money in it. You know, I mean, and the business end of things is so difficult. You know, like they always say, a great businessman can make anything succeed, and a bad businessman can make a great idea fail, right?
Right.
So you said you go anywhere from concept to, you know, scale it up and whatnot.
Yeah, if you got a product that you're already selling, and
Right, but
Yeah.
let's say someone, okay, this is what Greg's trying to say, let's say someone's got 3 different ideas, they love all of them. They may not know which one to go with first. Maybe haven't had all 3 of them patented yet because they don't want to spend the money patenting 3 different ideas.
right.
Are you someone can go to say, hey, I've got these ideas, I believe in all of them, I think they're all gonna be great, you know, do a non-disclosure, and then see if you guys have an interest in maybe partnering on one of those to get going.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you think your idea is unique enough where you don't, and you're at that stage where you don't have a patent, but you believe in it, our criteria would be that we would participate in it depending on how unique the idea is. And that just, I mean, that seems really vague, but
Right.
you have to explain to us what that unique idea is. And just, you know, I don't know what your experiences are with NDAs, but yes, we would absolutely sign an NDA, but with confidentiality or all that stuff. But I would just tell you that, you know, that's just legal speak for trying to protect yourself, and which you should. I mean, you should sign an NDA. But at the end of the day, you know, I think you just need to know the person and whether you trust them or not. Yeah.
Well, the problem with any of that is if you don't have the money to enforce the patent or enforce the NDA,
Doesn't matter.
then you don't do any good. And every lawyer is not gonna take it on contingency. So you gotta pony up the money.
So I think trust is more important, find someone you trust.
It is.
And then not worry about that as much.
It is. I think, and I think the trust is, you know, like you've heard the Facebook story. You know, they had litigations earlier on because it wasn't Mark Zuckerberg's idea or what have you. And you know, a lot of startups, there's a lot of startups fail because they just can't create a culture of trust. It's not that the individuals within the team are per se not trustworthy people. It's just that people in that team, they just the dynamic of who they are just cannot be trusted.
Well, then you also gotta consider just human nature. A great example on the patent. The guy that created the first sunscreen for cars created the 2 oval wire springs on a mylar vacuum. But it was very specific, 2 oval rings. He got his patent, he went to a factory, they were producing them. The guy that owned the factory said, hey, your patent is for 2 oval rings. I'm gonna cut that sucker in half and make a patent for 1 oval ring. You go to Walmart and you look on their shelves for the sunscreen, you'll see both styles on their shelf. The guy with the 2 oval rings has a very small display. The guy with the 1 oval ring has the whole counter. Now, he didn't steal anything, he didn't do anything. He just took advantage of his creativity to see what was lacking in the original patent. So just having a patent doesn't guarantee market success.
I mean, that's not unusual at all. It's usually the second
No,
or third
absolutely.
generation has the big success because they refine it enough to make it.
It's usually the second person. So to fear the divulging your idea is just holding you back. Because ultimately, the person that you share it with really is not going to rip it up unless you're making millions. And he's going to say, I can do it better than this guy. He's already making millions. I'll make tens of millions because I'm going to do this. But he's going to wait till you're already a successful story. In my point of view, that's what I've always seen. So don't hold yourself back because you're afraid to share it. Go ahead and find someone, you know, hopefully Keenan here is, you know, a source, someone like you.
Can we trust
Well, you know, I think,
you know, that are trustworthy.
I mean, you were saying, Greg, earlier, well, we're not dating yet, or what have you. And I think it's truly that. I mean, it's a dating, you're dating
know each
people,
other,
right?
for
To get to know each other, for sure. I think one of the things that I'm very proud of with our team is that, and Warren sets the tone on this, and he's the managing director, and he takes integrity very seriously. And I think that it's interesting because I've worked with people with from different parts of the world with different cultures and all that, and I have a situation right now in one of my European partners who sells our product as a distributor, but kind of is a strategic distributor in a sense where we've put a lot of investment in training them to do the things that we do, which they would have never, basically giving keys to the kingdom effectively, our knowledge base, training them to act like us in Europe fundamentally. And this person thought that there was no conflict of interest when his other partner, who he has another business with, is building a competitive product of ours, not this version here, but in this space, and going to compete in the US with us. And we were still trying to figure out, okay, is this guy not morally sound, or he doesn't have moral compass? Which I don't think that's the truth. I think he does. I think he does have moral compass. But the other fact is that I think it's just that they're what they believe is to be trustworthy is different than what we think is trustworthy and integrity. So I think even culturally, I'm talking about people from a different, across the Atlantic. But I'm sure there are people within the U.S. with all very different cultures and integrity. I'm not so sure.
We say we won't do something, but all of us have been in the same situation.
But I was doing a deal in Korea once, a long time ago, where, and this is true, Rupert Murdoch and Ecostar were trying to invest in a first satellite broadcast business in South Korea, and Korea Telecom was the entity that was given the licensing from the government. And up until the day of the signing of the deal, we had a deal signed. We invested 10% of the investment, launching satellites, doing all this stuff, and helping them with the operation of the business. That's where I would have gone in. The day of the signing of the deal, Rupert Murdoch ended up winning the deal because they paid the Korean government under the table. And in Korea at that time, you hear these stories on the news and you think like, oh my God, how could that be true? It's true. But for them, it's normal. That was, paying somebody under the table it was a very normal practice or way of doing business. The reason why Korean government or Koreans right now are trying to nail that down, get rid of it, is because of investor confidence for foreign money. It has nothing to do with Korean culture. They need foreign money, so they need to get rid of that part of their culture. So yeah, that's another example. Yeah, but I think, you said, you don't. I would imagine you would never say yes the first time you meet, unless it's like a home run. But you want to get to know them, ask them the right questions, the kind of questions that you would, that you want to know. I think for us, I'll talk a little bit more tactical stuff of what we do. At a concept level, I would tell you right now that everybody has ideas. And for us, we put more weight on the execution. And even within the execution, you can sell a product, anyone can sell a product. And I think there's a saying that anyone can sell a product for a loss. And it's true. There's a lot of products that you can sell at a loss. And you can sell as many products as you want. But the real challenge is how do you make profit? How do you make profit? How do you make a business out of it? And that's what we're focused on. And so if you're interested and really, really interested in getting to know us, that would be our singular goal, is to, you can't jump there, but we would go through, the daily routine and methodically get to a point where, okay, we're now ready to test in this safe environment, or or a beta test. Usually it's a market test, right? You want a direct consumer feedback, and then we're now ready to take it to the next stage. So I think in that regard, we're very practical in our approach. We're very data driven, and if we get, let's just say we're doing online tests, and then we spend, let's say we're doing direct response marketing on Facebook or Instagram or something like that, just to see how much marketing spend it, how competitive it is, because that's another factor, right? When you're spending the marketing dollars for that person's money, for that particular category of goods, or whatever that is, you're competing with somebody else, right? So somebody else is bidding up your money, right? So the question is, the product may be great and people may love the product, but it may be too cost prohibitive to market. If that's the case, it doesn't mean we're finished with that investment. I mean, we'll have to assess and get as much data back and figure out, what do we do next? And
If it's worthwhile, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
How much, if you don't mind me asking, how much of the cost of product development on that speaker, Bluetooth speaker?
We put, it's not in the tens of thousands, it's in the hundreds of.
Really? Even with the Chinese factory, they're the ones that did the tooling and all that?
Oh yeah, no, we paid for it. I mean, it was our money.
Yeah. The samples went off, they're expensive to tool up.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think we have several thousands of units in the warehouse right now.
Right.
And we decided last fall that it was worth making that investment. And just based on, the data that we had. And it's a bet, right? Like it's an informed bet. There's a risk and reward.
But to make the first sample, more or less, you're talking.
Oh no. The first sample was $50. Not I'm sorry.
How much did those stickers sell for?
I'm sorry.
How much did those sell for?
So now we're selling online for $229. I'll show it to you.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So literally, when I gave it to some of my friends, they'd be like, they try to swing with it, and they're like, "Is this going to help improve my swing?" I was like, "No, it's a speaker," and they just couldn't connect the dot. Like, you mean this is a speaker?
Is it durable in case someone accidentally grabs the wrong club and goes to hit their ball with it?
We had problems with the shaft. The shaft fell apart, so we had to and that's another thing, is that when we're talking about testing, we're doing market testing, we're doing product testing, but the way we do it, we take a very methodical approach about it so that we don't waste our money, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we could have done lots of market tests earlier, but we didn't do that because we weren't quite sure with the product itself, from a quality perspective. Yeah. So one channel that was been really interested in this product has been in the promo market, corporate promos.
All right.
So as gifts, corporate events. Yeah.
Whereas the bell wasn't.
Sorry?
The bell wasn't. The bell wasn't a promo product, because then you'd have to go down.
I'm not sure I understood,
So
sorry.
the belt wasn't a promo product.
Oh, no, the belt, oh, no, it is. So yeah, that's a really, thanks for bringing that up. So the belt, it's okay. It's like your socks, you have different sizes. And so promo companies, it's really hard to find sizes. I mean, like t-shirts, people are okay with t-shirts, like with having being different sizes.
Everyone
of polo
just gets
shirts.
extra large, that works.
Right, and they usually pick on one size, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we've had problems because of the sizing, because they don't want to just pick one size. I think in a like small promo opportunity, they'll do a small run. So we've got so that's a market that we're tackling. Yeah, yeah. No, there's a huge demand for promo for this product. Huge. We just need to have a better product for it. Yeah.
Better design. so-
Better design product for promo market, yeah. Yeah, I think like the first year or two, we had people from NBA asking for it. They want to put their NBA logo on there. And yeah, I mean, just lots of different brands. They were okay putting their brand.
That has a buckle?
So the first product is the zipper, I mean, classic. It doesn't have a zipper. It has 4 holes in it, like in the front and the back. And then it's, you can, open it up and you can slide your stuff in.
But attaching it attaches like a belt with a buckle? type
There's
of
no
thing?
buckle. It's all elastic.
You slide it.
Slide it in or put a shirt in.
Oh.
And then
Just stretches.
the reason why we call it the flip out is because the holes that are pointing outside, you flip it and they point inside.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
But you have different sizes because of the elasticity, you want it as snug as possible, so you don't.
exactly.
Okay.
It's form-fitting to your body.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And so I didn't mention that earlier.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't, okay.
How many flip belts have you sold today?
Millions.
Why can't you, man, I can design that one size right now.
Really?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But it's not easy to make.
Trust me, I can get it done.
Yeah? Okay, let's talk.
I'll see how that's constructed, I can guarantee I can make it.
Yeah,
Out of that. I'll make sure you do. 27 years.
yeah.
30 years, I can make that, I can make it one size.
Well, one of the things that has been good and bad for us is that, by the way, I mean, we do have both utility design patent for this product.
Sure.
Um,
That's mold injected, right?
but it doesn't, I'm sorry?
Is that molded? It's molded? It's molded?
It's fabric.
The elastic material
Yeah,
is fabric?
it's fabric.
So it's like a wetsuit.
It's
Yeah.
Lycra, I think 6-8% Lycra, polyester.
Okay.
Yeah,
So there's one seam that's sewn together.
multiple seams. Yeah, and that's, I mean, the reason I brought the whole patent thing up is that, for our experience, just because you have a patent doesn't mean, you're protected, right? So you gotta pick your battle, who you go after.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's like a risk-reward game,
Right.
and try and it's kind of like playing poker, figuring out who's got what.
What's the retail price of that?
The classic is $29, and the zipper, I believe, is $35. And then we introduced this flip out crops, which is flip out with integrated leggings. And this product is even more secure and more eliminates bounce even more. So it's more stable.
Right.
Yeah. And the interesting challenge with this product is that, we priced it at 79 earlier. We brought it down to 56. The reason why we did that is because right now we couldn't figure out a way to sell it into the retail stores.
With Lulu pants.
I'm sorry?
With Lolo or with the Lulu pants?
These are basically Lululemon pants
Right.
with a flip belt on it, but a flip belt with Lululemon pants on it, basically. Yeah.
Well, what do they retail, Lulu pants?
Those things are like 130,
Yeah.
130.
That's half the price.
Yeah, and actually, I would argue it's a better product.
Well, yeah, you got the added parts of the belt.
Yeah, I mean, if you do the math with it's a classic zipper, which is $36. Then you got the leg part,
Right.
and so I mean that's a smoking deal.
Sure.
But I mean, you try to tell that to a customer, and how do you do that in a way that's marketing efficient and return on investment, contribution-wise good, and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're good at that, you can come in.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole point. That's the fun part about my job is that you don't know who your customer is going to be, how you're going to sell it. You have ideas, but that's why I get up and go try to figure it out.
Sure.
The one area that I'm very excited about is that we know that women are going to buy 2 of these, not 1. If they buy 1, they'll probably buy 2 or 3, because the flip out, you can wash it, right? But you can wear it multiple times. But if you've got other leggings, the women can put all the other leggings on. But if you want to wear this and you go for a run and it's dirty, you want to wear it again. You don't want to do the laundry. You got to have another pair. Yeah.
Just gotta make sure that putting all the belt in with the pants isn't gonna make the women feel like they're looking fat and or they won't buy it.
Yeah.
It's gotta have something to, either like a different color or something so that, my wife won't put on something that's gonna make her look bigger.
Right.
She's gonna want the separation, so that people recognize it as a belt and not as what's
Right.
underneath her pants.
Right.
So, just a thought.
You know what? We've had that discussion. Yeah. That's a really good point.
Or find a way to make you look thinner. And
you know what?
That'll sell.
Guess what this product does? It makes your butt look better.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah. No, you're hitting the points. That's what the women want.
How those have been selling, or how long have they been out?
We've had this out, just like the sound credit, we've been selling this for a year, all last year. What we learned is that if you're trying to put this in the retail environment, they usually want to have a portfolio of products, minimum of up to 6 different types of products. So
You mean variations of the same thing?
Variations, that's the better word for
Colors
it. Not colors, but very like a line, like a product. Yeah, like a product line in the retail stores. So we're going in that direction. I mean, we're going to go in that direction. So we have products, as you can imagine, the product extensions can expound on that, what we've got here, what other products might be. But
Do you like that logo flip?
so that's a really, thanks for noticing that. It served its purpose, and so we're in the process of rebranding. Yeah, and that's the deck that I sent you, which, by the way, it's an interesting exercise. There's a guy, if you ever are interested in, branding and marketing in the current digital age, there's a really good guy. He's an acquaintance of mine. He lives in Boulder. His name is Brandon Sino. I think I pronounced his last name correctly. He's the guy who was behind Eva Burritos and Naked products, and he's in the food industry, and he has a really, really, really good sense of trends and marketing. And I took I benchmarked off of his presentation on branding and marketing, and I really, really liked it because it didn't have all of the traditional, marketing speak per se. It's just very, very simplified to common persons, I guess. I should show it to you. It's worth.
He's got good marketing sense and.
He's a really savvy guy as far as marketing. So he put this marketing into basically these 4 different categories: brand, product, distribution, and engagement. That's it. There's no, like if you get into marketing, MBA speak, there's 4 P's of marketing: price, promotion, positioning, and placement. Who cares about that? Yeah. Anyway, you can find that on YouTube, and it's a really good, it's a really good tutorial on what's going on in today's environment. He gets it really. He's sharp. He's really good.
How do you spell his name?
C-Note, I think it's spelled Synotte. I'm not sure. So he's invested, or he's actively, it's kind of like us, he's been kind of actively, he's made an investment in this company called PACT, P-A-C-T, and what it is it's a clothing company, and I think he sells underwear and more than that, but he started with the underwear and then t-shirts and hoodies and just really simple stuff. But his whole approach with that product is all natural products and branding as a natural brand.
Yeah, like hemp fibers and stuff like that?
No,
Green.
yeah, just all natural products. Yeah. And if you really think about it, it makes sense what he's doing. I don't know whether he'll succeed, but I think he's
Well, there's a shoe company out there that's one of the Clark's, the great grandsons, whatever.
Yeah.
Who's making shoes from algae.
Yeah.
So, and I've seen them, they're pretty durable, just like Crocs, but to make them algae. So there's a lot of people spending money in that direction, and I think that's what the world's going that way, but at least a good chunk of it.
Yeah, I think he's seen that trend. That's fundamentally the trend, and some of that, yeah, it's to be determined.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So would we be online to come up to you and show, get to, meet with you and show you these things? Or?
Absolutely. Part of the reason I'm here is because, for selfish reasons, because, we're always looking for new ideas and products. I would say we are pretty busy. I think we're pretty, I think we're going to be a lot more selective than we have been in the past, because we have a lot in our pipeline. But again, the reason, I enjoy doing this. Like I mentioned to you earlier, I think hanging out with people like you is, this is very rare. It's another avenue of creativity. And I really appreciate you letting me be here to talk about, our business and talk about a topic that we're very interested in. But also I'm here because, I'm interested to see if there are any interesting ideas or products that we could, build together.
Are you guys always top heavy on the equity ask for your investment?
Well,
You said 70-30.
no, we're not.
The gentleman didn't have a line.
Yeah.
I was expecting you guys to carry the line.
No, we're not. And I think we're very business practical, which is very rare. I wouldn't say rare, but I credit that to Warren. He's, again, our managing director. And I'll give you an example. We have an investment, we made an investment, a merger investment, into an internet service. And I won't tell you what it's going to be. And it's not product driven, it's service driven. But I can tell you it's in the social media domain. And you'll tell me, like, you gotta be kidding, not the social media. But it's a premium social media. And they had this idea for this product or service 10 years ago, this partner group that we've invested in, and they couldn't do it on their own. It was a good idea, but it might have been a little too early in timing, right? Timing is sometimes everything. And right now, for me, I'm super excited because I feel like, football, it's a nice base hit. You're using baseball euphemism or analogy. And I think Soundcat is a nice base hit. I think football's more of a, it's a second base hit, or maybe it could be a third or whatever. Second base probably. And I would say, the service that we're looking at could be a home run. But you know what? It's a great idea. Again, but it needs to be executed. I don't know if you remember MySpace. before Facebook? Did you ever use it?
No, but I remember my niece did or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were fairly good size for a while.
They had like millions and millions and millions of users, and Rupert Murdoch bought them for
600 million.
1.2.
Well, I think the guy walked away with 600 million.
Oh, no, yeah. So the News Corp company bought MySpace for 1.2, 1.3 billion at the time, which was, I don't know what it is today, but and this was before Facebook.
You know those photos that you see on the laptop or whatever, when you flop them open, all those fabulous photos of worldly shots. The guy that sold Facebook or MySpace, he's the photographer that's taking one of those.
Oh,
he's
really?
taking his money, he's going around the world making photos and he's providing free trash.
Really? Oh, the photo
So
stuff?
Yeah.
can you walk us through just a little bit of the process of, okay, we've got what we think is a great idea that we believe in, and we call you. What's the step-by-step? You talk about being methodical. What services are you actually providing?
Sure, what if I grab water?
No, go ahead.
Let's go back.
I'm sorry, I'm being careful.
So, yeah, well, after the presentation, we can sit down and, exchange numbers or contact information. We can set up a time and.
If you're on the email list, the presentation's out, so the contacts in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, I think, I mentioned like three criteria. We need to know that it's a unique idea, that you're invested in it. And it's something that you're willing to partner us with. We need to know that you're not going to be the decision maker. And sometimes that's really hard for people. But we will have a final say, but it's usually the experience-wise, and we can talk to Henry. I mean, we'll do whatever we can to. It's a collective decision process, but we reserve the right to make the final decision.
Well, if you're investing a lot of money, that's.
Yeah. Thanks for understanding. So we'll sit down, and then if we like the idea, if it's unique enough, we'll bring you in and have you meet the guys and go over your idea, and then if we like your idea, we'll move on to the next stage, and we'll depending on where it is, depending on where what product cycle it's at, part of the product cycle. We'll, write down, put together. It could be a gentleman's agreement, or we could put together a document that's ironclad. So it's really up to your comfort. I think the way it started with Henry, he'd known Warren prior to coming up with the sound caddy idea. So I think it was a little easier for him to kind of like keep it more of as a gentleman's agreement for a little while. But that's not always the case. Like right now, I'm working on a deal with a Japanese inventor, and I have to get the contract done like now, and terms or whatever. But they're usually pretty standard, very, very strict. And depending on what level of participation you want to participate, we figure out what would be equitable.
Sure.
Yeah.
Excellent products.
Well, we got the flip up line, and then we got the sound caddy, and then we made an investment in Million Mile Light. That was on Kickstarter 3-4 years ago. But then we're passing that investment back to Pete and those guys, because that's another unique thing about us, is that we invested in it, but we realized got to a point where we're like, you know what, we can't continue to do this because we just don't see an exit, a positive exit for us. So we gave it all back to Pete, and it's his, and so they're running with it out of the UK. and they're building distribution marketing partners around the world. And we have a small team. It's fairly nimble. We've got about 16 people in our business. That's including the warehouse team.
How many women executives?
Mia is the only woman in our group, right? As a partner. So what's unique about I should talk a little bit more about our team. I mentioned about Warren, his background. Jimmy, he's really very good, marketing savvy. And then Eric, have you met Eric's one of those guys who does tech and operations, but he's straddles business and technology. He does it as well as most people that I know. He won't always take as much risk as the sales guy will, which sometimes I think he needs to, like just any operation guy. But he is one of those guys that straddles, build and sales side really, really well. So he's built a lot of the operational tools. He's very technically savvy, so we don't need that much overhead. We like to think of ourselves as more Navy SEALs. We're not nothing like Navy SEALs, but you use that analogy as opposed to the infantry. We'd rather not hire lots of people doing, we'd rather be nimble and have systems in place, and have people wear multiple hats. Did I answer your question, Bud? Okay. Any other questions? No.
Are you Korean? You don't mind me asking?
I am Korean. How did you know?
I've done some work with Korea.
Oh, really? Thanks. Yeah. I was just exchanging texts with my mother. I'm adopted, and she's fully Caucasian, lives in Boulder.
Yeah, no accent.
And to that point, I told her that I tried to beat the Korean out of me as much as I could.
Yeah.
Because culturally, have you seen, do you know Ken Jeong? The guy from, I'm sorry?
He used to be a doctor.
He used to be a doctor. He's the comedian. He's in, I'm sorry?
Yeah, Chow.
Yeah, Chow, it's Chow, yeah, Ken Jeong, he's Korean. And there's this Netflix special that he just did, where he was talking about the Korean rage. And it was funny because he was saying, I must go, which is in Korean, hello.
Yeah.
But if you get that,
German's such a harsh language.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Actually, Deutsch. Excuse me. It's hello.
Right.
Or do you speak German?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some languages are like that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like him. I like your contact information. I know you guys are busy, but whenever we can schedule something,
Yeah.
I'm busy too. I'd like to see if we get together and start to develop.
I appreciate that.
It's
That'd be fun. Well, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out.
Anything else? Any other questions?
No.
Okay. Shut off the streaming.